I started having suicidal thoughts when I was 12. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I don't like this. This is so hard I could die. I'm talking about full on darkness 24/7. And it felt so real. It was so real. You know, there was nothing else around. It was just narrative that everything was just too hard and I couldn't take it. And I really want you to think about the amount of pain that someone must be in to go against our very nature, our very primal nature as human beings, our more basic survival instincts. For me, what really opened the path of healing was to be received with pure, and I'm talking absolutely pure, unconditional love in everything that I was. And I'm going to get emotional. And when I've met Niurka, she received me like that. And I was shocked. I'm not going to lie. I was shocked because she didn't know me. And I was like, how is this even possible? You know, what's the trick? What's happening? And everything that I thought was just so ugly and you know, not great about me was wrong. And she helped me see that, but I couldn't see it for myself. My home belief was really deep inside my core, and I didn't have anything to compare it with. So in my mind, I thought I was like the worst human being ever. And that's so far from the truth. But I was my biggest critic. I can't even tell you how hard I was on myself. And it was the only way for me. I couldn't do it any other way. And when Niurka came into my life, she showed me that there's a way more graceful way to approach myself. When I've met her, and it was live in person, right? So meeting Niurka online is something, imagine live, it's a whole other experience. And I signed up for Neo, and God knows I was so broke, I couldn't afford it, but I was like, I need to do this. I've tried everything, and this is really the last chance I'm giving myself at living. And I haven't really shared this much, but the truth is I had a plan to kill myself if Neo didn't work. And it was actually a good plan. And I was decided if it didn't work, I would come back and I would just end me, basically. So when I came into the room, for me, I was serious about this. I was like, this is a life or death situation. I want this more than anyone in this room. You know, I need this. And we went through all the processes that we go through in Neo. And Niurka didn't pick me as our demo. And that broke me. I was so pissed. I was like, I need this more than anyone. And I need to work with the best in the room because I need something that is so much grander than me, you know. On day 3 of NeoGenesis, the biggest breakthrough happened. And I birthed myself into myself, if that makes sense. And I didn't realize all the anger that I had, because at NeoGenesis, Niurka will tell you that. But some people say, I don't have anger. I'm not a angry person, which was my case. And I was like, let's just go through this because Niurka said so. That's where I had the biggest breakthrough, when I released anger. And I didn't realize I had all this anger. I knew I was crippled with fear, but anger was a very new emotion for me. And through the release of anger, I realized I got my power back. And it was a very visceral experience. There's no way that I can translate it into words. It's not something you explain. It's really something you experience. But the best way that I can convey it is that when I got my power back, when I got the learning from anger, releasing anger, I felt this truly powerful force inside of me coming from my core and taking over me, like from every cells of my being. And I was there. I was me. I was rebirthed. Like NeoGenesis is really a rebirth. After Neo, the process of transformation was so deep within your core, within your very essence, that it becomes a natural action and you don't have to think anymore. You don't have to try to be fine or, fake to be okay. It just, you're better now. You're okay now. I realized that everything that unfolded, there's a few components to this whole healing process. I think there's obviously the willingness of the suicidal person to transcend what's going on. There's also the guidance of the master, the person who's able to lovingly and graciously and completely and also masterfully, know what you're actually doing, because this is a very, tricky place to be. So I think what allowed me to start the process of healing was how unconditionally loved I was and how I was received, because I was so hard on myself that I wasn't allowing myself to be vulnerable in front of everyone, and nobody knew about it. I spent 14 years I was suicidal and no one knew about it until I was healed, until after I came back from Neo and I told everyone, hey, I was suicidal for 14 years, and everybody was like, what? You don't have to say anything. You don't have to find the right words. You don't have to fix anything. You just have to be there. And even in silence. But the presence really, truly changed something for me, because I felt so alone. And I still remember how alone I felt. And that's what changed when I met Niurka and the team and the community. I don't feel that alone now. I have such a deep, profound, complete sense of self-respect, self-love, self-acceptance that no one can take away from me. Like, no one can mess with that. And even if you don't agree with it, it's perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. And I'm in love with myself. I want to live so much right now. I want to go through all the experiences, and I owe that to Niurka's guidance and presence. And I'm telling you, do everything in your power to put yourself in environments like that with this woman, because there's something with this woman. She's always on time. Like, it's always divine timing. The perfect place, perfect thing for you. If you feel it, go. It's going to change your life.